Good afternoon. My name is AnnetteNichols, and this is the Global Mobility Program for the Bechtel Corporation. This project is for managing the global workforce at Amberton University for Dr. Diane Sanchez. Today, I'm going to talk about my research project, my hypothesis, give an overview of the Bechtel Corporation, global assignments, history and culture of Santiago, Chile, work role factors in Chile, support systems for expatriates and repatriation, limitations of studies, methodology, implications to the 21st century workforce, and recommendations and conclusion. My hypothesis is the purpose of this research project is to design and implement an effective global mobility program for a human resource manager with the Bechtel Corporation based out of Reston, Virginia, working at an international site in Santiago, Chile. The expatriate will need to have a solid understanding of the culture, customs, the exchange systems, cost of living in Chile, and transportation in the area, among other factors, when considering an international assignment. A little history of the Bechtel Corporation. The company was founded in 1898 by Warren Bechtel. In 1931, one of their first major mega projects was working on the Hoover Dam. In 1943, they began their first work in the Middle East, building an oil refinery. In 1947, they began work on the Trans-Arabian Pipeline, which transported oil across Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Syria. In 1964, one of their very first mass transit projects was out of San Francisco in the Bay Area Rapid Transit. In 1991, Bechtel led the efforts to put out oil fires in Kuwait and rebuild its infrastructure. In 1995, the company becomes the first U.S. firm granted a construction license in China for a Motorola semiconductor facility. In the 2000s, they adopted the Six Sigma methodology to improve organizational quality. In 2005, they provided temporary housing for those families affected by Hurricane Katrina. In 2013, they began work in Chile on a water system for a copper mine project. In 2014, Bill Dudley was elected CEO, and he was the very first non-Bechtel employee to run the company. However, a short time later, 2 years after, in 2016, Brendan Bechtel becomes the CEO. In 2020, the company collaborated with a nonprofit company, Global Giving, to aid in the fight against COVID-19. There are 3 phases in the process of global assignments: selection and preparation, assignment, repatriation. Multinational companies must identify HR management personnel that are competent in their current role in a domestic operation before identifying that personnel to work internationally. Personal traits of the expatriate: the ability to deal with peers, support personnel, executives, and the relatability of the HR manager. Environmental capabilities to consider: the HR manager must be able to identify and cope with the working environment when dealing with the host country's policies and procedures and governmental regulation. Family must also be a consideration. The expatriate must also be able to adjust to living in a foreign culture within this multinational corporation. In the first phase, the selection and preparation, a multinational company must identify HR management personnel that are competent in their current role in a domestic operation. The host country must determine a purpose and need for the international assignment. They also must rely on job skills and leadership capabilities to determine the selection of the executive. Personal traits the expatriate should exhibit are the ability to deal with peers, support personnel, executives, and the relatability of the HR manager. Other skills the executive must possess before selection is decided: they are confident in their current relationship, building relationships with their peers, problem-solving skills, and even interpersonal communication skills are necessary. In the assignment phase, the expatriate adjustment is a big factor. A successful expatriate must have cross-cultural training and previous international experience when considerations are made for a global assignment. Expatriates must have the support from their coworkers and the host country management relationship. The HR manager tasked with a global assignment often will look to the organizational support of the host country. Compensation, cross-cultural training, and even general family support are also elements of a successful assignment relocation. In the last phase, repatriation, this is the final phase of the global assignment process. Returning home from the assignment, often challenges occur for the HR manager. Critical to the success of a multinational company and its future international assignments depends on the repatriation process. Knowledge sharing is beneficial. Practices must include pre-departure debriefings, career planning, position that will be filled once the expatriate returns, employee orientation training, counseling services, and financial and communication. Organizational career success is a critical factor in the repatriation phase of a global assignment. The more job responsibility development directly relates to the career satisfaction of the expatriate upon returning from an international assignment. The global assignment at the Bechtel Corporation has several factors that must be considered for an effective global assignment for the expatriate. The length of the international assignment, the costs that are associated with the global assignment, compensation, visas, housing, repatriation, and emergency preparation. The length of the international assignment is dictated according to general policies on an expatriate at Bechtel Corporation are considered long-term employees if the international assignment is longer than 12 months. Employed by the international organization for assigned location of Santiago, Chile. The workweek schedule also follows the interim assignment location schedule for all management personnel. Costs and compensation. When thinking about a global assignment, costs are the responsibility of the receiving location for this particular assignment, which is in the copper mine location in Chile. The employee is reimbursed for moving costs and any associated relocation or settling in costs. HR management will be compensated at a base salary with incentives, extended workweek allowances, and payments. Long-term assignment workweek schedule is followed to allow for compensation of any local national holidays. Employee is also paid danger pay, project allowances, assignment completion incentives, and even overtime. The visa policy must be outlined. This policy must fall in line with international and local guidelines. If the work assignment is longer than 12 months, the expatriate must apply for a Chile temporary residence visa. The company must be employed in Chile in order to receive the visa. Letter from the Chile location of Bechtel must also be accompanied by the visa request. Copy of the work contract, both English and the Spanish version, must also be accompanied. Passports, certificates of clearance to work in the country, and the expatriate must have a health certificate from a certified medical practitioner clearing them to work for an international assignment. Also, flight information must be included. Housing accommodations will differ based on assignment location. Specific conditions are approved by the host location. If housing is inadequate, Bechtel will provide the housing. Residence allowance is given to the expatriate. Long-term assignment is the requirement for the housing assistance. For a single person, the allowance is typically $750 or equal to the country of origin or assignment. If a family is working internationally, the allowance is $1,500 US or equivalent to the country of origin. The repatriation process. The employee whose assignment is completed is placed on a hold status before returning. All return transportation is arranged. The shipment of any household goods is also arranged. Any lease cancellations. A medical evaluation must be completed on the expatriate before they are allowed to return. Payments of completed assignment and any incentives that were earned and any relocation allowances are also applied at this stage. The history and culture of Chile. The population of this country is 17 million. The capital is Santiago. The currency is the peso. People have inhabited the region dating back to 14,000 BC. The country was under Spanish control until Napoleon conquered the area back in 1807. It declared its independence in 1810. Most residents live along the coast. The Spanish is the actual official language in this country. And the Mapuche group is the main tribe that inhabits the area currently. Work role factors in Chile. Work weeks in Chile are 45 hours a week, some of the longest in the world. This also includes some Saturday work, which can be imposed by the employer. Employers have the right to extend the workday to a 10-hour workday if necessary. Any work beyond the normal 9-hour workday is paid overtime at 150% of the employee's rate of pay. Exceptions to this rule are managers, supervisors, and directors. Employees are entitled to a half-hour break during the workday. Night work is between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. and does not have any limitations or premium pay. It is mandatory that employers track all employee time, both regular and overtime. The role of the host country and support systems for expatriates. Human resource managers that are assigned to work globally must find ways to adjust to their new work locations. Adjustments must also be made to routines and new work environments that can have an impact on the employee. The role the host country plays is vital to the success of the expatriate's assignment. The host country and the employer become critical partners when providing assistance for housing needs, food, and even financial assistance for family members of the expatriate. The host country can help foster that socialization process for the expatriate by providing friendship, cultural information, and even a unique insight into the work environment. The knowledge that the host country can help facilitate the adjustment enhances the performance effectiveness of the expatriate. Support systems for repatriation. Repatriates are employees that have completed their assignment and are now returning and moving to a subsequent position at the employee's home country. A supportive human resource and executive leadership department will aid the retention process and ultimately increases the job motivation. The likelihood of an expatriate accepting an international assignment also depends on the repatriation support and process for return. Repatriates are motivated by the opportunity to work internationally, possible career advancements, compensation, and having the satisfaction that they have completed their assignment objectives. The degree of the transfer knowledge that repatriation brings to an organization is invaluable. Self-adjustment is directly and positively related to a global transfer of knowledge among repatriates. Retention is a key factor and essential to a multinational corporation as it acts as a perimeter between the home and the host country. Let's talk briefly about the cross-cultural environment and how important it is. Language barriers, environment, culture, and even people that expatriates may interact on a daily basis play a huge factor in the success of the employee. Work norms on an international level are often a very big challenge for an expatriate employee. The culture shock is another factor that an expatriate faces when working on a global assignment. Turnover can especially be high and is also directly related to the type of work environment the expatriate may face from the host country. When we talk about leadership, we talk about transformational leadership within a global assignment. Leadership directly correlates with a positive connection to performance outcomes. Leadership that is highly invested in the expatriate's success understands the employee's outcomes when adjustments to work environment, team performance, and the satisfaction the expatriate feels on an international assignment. Communication and openness are present in a new cultural environment and the host country. The expatriate will perform at or even above the level of their home country. Training and development of the expatriate as it relates to adjustments on an international assignment can also help eliminate those cross-cultural challenges the HR manager may face. Limitations of my studies. I do not have a vast knowledge of expatriate management practices as it relates to international assignments. I relied on research from literary reviews, from sources that possess the knowledge and expertise on the culture and societal norms and climate as it relates to a global assignment in a South American culture. Excuse me. Suggestions. An effective mobility program must train and develop the expatriate for the adjustment to the international assignment. Forming those positive intercultural relationships with the host country is essential. Multinational corporations must also provide the expatriate with support for the mobility assignment. They must clarify their role and provide conflict resolution training when there are issues to ensure success. Expectations must be outlined for the expatriate before the assignment begins and throughout the assignment. The methodology that was used. Literary reviews were used to examine the effectiveness of the role of the host country plays and the cross-cultural adjustments the expatriate faces when working in a new environment. Interviews with a human resource employee at the Bechtel Corporation were used because they were familiar with the international assignments, especially the South American ones, were also part of my research. Recommendations. Provide the expatriate with a solid foundation of expectations of the global assignment. Training and education of local laws and regulations of the host country must be done before the assignment begins. Housing, transportation, and monetary exchange information must be provided to the expatriate to ensure that all pertinent details are secured before leaving for the assignment. Basic language courses for the expatriate is also an important element for the expatriate's success, although it's not required. Detailed itineraries and checklists must be provided with explicit, detailed information on the assignment. The Employee Policy and Procedure Handbook must always be updated and must list specific details for all international assignments. Conclusions showing the implications to the 21st century. The development of a strong mobility program at the Bechtel Corporation will undoubtedly contribute to the successful transition for an expatriate when working globally on assignment in Santiago, Chile. Training and development of the employee for the adjustment will have a positive impact for the company and ultimately will lead to a successful adjustment to a foreign culture. The Bechtel Corporation is a global leader in the construction and infrastructure business and is committed to developing lasting one-team relationships with employees, customers, and partners, both domestically and internationally. These are my references that were used for my research. I thank you for your time and hope you enjoy this presentation.